regards. Mostly, I would talk about the word competition, which means people are attempting to achieve their goals through the plans. However, it is something different. The idea of being an individual who would like to get success upon others, it is something related to scores and grades. But at the same time, data are not the significant reference of being such a learner or a teacher. It means the idea of level and rank in terms of people would like to see their achievements as the best, with probability of competing others. So to compete is something normal, but the idea of being competitor is something different from being an educator. This is a reference, a clear reference of the exact meaning of the word competition. I do not accept the idea of being competitor to another person, because when you compete, it does not mean a healthy way of achieving your goals or aims. It does mean that you have learned, heard, informed about the grades, the levels, the ranks, the achievements of that person, and you would like to be better than him, her. Here is the problematic issue. To associate things with logical philosophy, I would say you must not compare yourself to others. So this is the first indicative information about the idea of being a competitor to others, because you felt, I mean by the word you, as an individual, a person, a human. You would like to fight. There is an intrinsic motive that agitates, motivates, encourages, and moves your personal thought in a way that is negative rather than positive. So this is the second profound indicative meaning of the word competition. It is something not good, because competition means a kind of psychological internal thing that attempts to move up, create things that are not normally accepted. you have to have your ability to compare yourself to your personality, to your respectful values, to your important principles. Take, for example, a pupil who would like to talk about his grade and mentions that thing to his parents, informing them about his grade. And then the father will ask about the other comrades' levels, ranks, grades, scores. That means he, she attempts to insult, because there is another person, another human, an individual who has got higher than the speaker. So this is an important thing that needs a social development, particularly when we talk about psychological and internal perspectives. The third point that I would like to raise here in this speech, I would say a competition requires valuable standards that are not really existed in the Middle East, particularly the third world or the developmental world. These countries who are witnessing wars, catastrophes, problems, social phenomena, disastrous crisis, they cannot think about such competitions with all the highly recommended principles, values, proceedings. And the most critical thing is the social differences with a type of preferences and reliance. So to be accurate in your speech, you have to understand the idea of accuracy in terms of applying the systematic programs. So there is an absent element that would be illustrated in terms of luxuries. So to compete with others does not mean that you set up something that is outside the valuable perspectives or retrospectives. So it's something related to history and geography in terms of differentiating between the authority and delegation of powers. When you delegate the power to someone who is not fully respectful to the idea of accepting others' achievements, others' good wills, others' valuable and respectful standards, they will not apply all these elements, particularly when there are an elementary perspective. I would wrap up all these problematic and futuristic sentences by saying, to sum up what I have been talking about, we need to understand the advanced countries, how could they manage, control all their catastrophes, crises, dilemmas without being negotiating about minor issues? In another word, I would say ideas are not respectful as projects. So this is the profound and extrinsic solutions for our ignorance and endlessness processes of applying such respectful programs. To think about creators, innovators, those who have such views could improve, promote, and develop their social paces with respect to the idea of competition. I have seen, I have heard, I have been taught about programs, particularly when we talk about the cultural, the agricultural, and the social potentials. We need more than what's called competing others. We, as people and pupil, must understand the functional and organic importance and significance of being highly recommended assets. Take, for example, researchers, particularly when we talk about the typical and ideal ones, we are thinking about the edge-cutting ideas. This is the final step, the ultimate goal of achieving such reliable, significant, valid, and vital in terms of presenting such a pivotal cause to our process of application, usages, and implementations. So I would say competition does not mean social initiatives. It does mean individuals struggle, individuals competing. So this is a temporal, short-term process that cannot be lasted, which means we need to build our capabilities rather than abilities. We have to understand the co-capabilities rather than the co-abilities. There is a great difference and huge discrimination among those who are thinking about themselves as the ideal and typical and reliable assets within their communities. Our countries, particularly the Arab world, must initiate, must promote such programs that must respect the mindful, the impactful, those who are regarded as workable, as people who could do something to their parents, society, country, and governments. We must be outside our province so that classical thinking must be stopped to go deeply to what is called healthy competition. The healthy competition is not a critical process of criticizing or negotiating about unnecessary ideas. It does mean how could we develop an idea to be a project or a program that can serve communities who are suffering from poverty, discrimination, and injustice. Thank you very much.